Hey guys, it's your boy Odale, and just something I was noticing in the stock market, obviously, and kind of just wanted to bring that to the forefront. Everybody knows that right now we are, as consumers, under immense strain with inflation, prices, and basically, majority of, well, I'm gonna say not majority, but a large percentage of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. They use credit, and they are really struggling the most during this time as prices go crazy, and inflation, while it has slowed, the effects of it have still been felt because we never reduce prices. So the prices, even though some of the raw market materials, for example, orange juice is down like 60% at the moment from a couple of years ago. The reflection of the prices for consumers has not dropped. So somewhere along the line, orange juice producers are making a large amount of money. The people selling orange juice, their their profit margins are probably crazy, but they have different struggles. But it's just an example that prices never reduce, even though, like even with eggs and all that stuff, they would have said that, hey, there was a flu, or, our birds were dying, et cetera, et cetera. Once things resume normally, the price never reduces. So we have to continuously bear the burden of more and more expensive prices. And when inflation does heat up, it hurts us more, but the prices never reduce. So as a consumer, you're always in a black hole with prices. You always need to find value for your money. If your money is not growing, you will not really be surviving in this world at this point. If you look at the value of $100 in 2019, it is worth, what was the consensus? I think it's worth at least anywhere from 25 to 30% less, meaning you'd have to spend more money now than you would have to then. Obviously, inflation, right? The value of your money, your buying power has been, your purchasing power has been reduced significantly. I would think 30% is a big drop. So I just want to bring to the forefront certain stocks which are very interesting, which I'm keeping my eyes on. Actually, I'm not just keeping my eyes on it, I'm investing in it. And again, none of my videos are investment advice. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm being completely and 100% transparent on what I'm doing. And the two stocks that I'm comparing today are, if you haven't heard now before, you're about to hear about them now. Sezzle and Klarna. I have used these before. They are buy now, pay later. And I don't need to use these, but sometimes it's useful, that you could pay a very small fraction today, and then the next 2 weeks, that's when they're going to take the other payment out. So you could potentially buy multiple things in a short space of time. If you can afford it, obviously, you got to calculate it. Responsible credit users use credit responsibly. You don't really buy something that you're not gonna have the money for it. I have the money, it's gonna come in, but it's useful to, I guess maybe you wanted to do something. You're getting paid weekly. This week you're gonna have a certain amount of money to do this. This buy now pay later helps you because obviously in 2 weeks you're gonna have like two other paychecks. But let's get into it. Let's look at the charts first. Klarna, IPO, very expensive IPO, straight down. This is normal and typical for IPOs. This is why you try rarely to get into IPOs at the beginning, because obviously, guess what? There is something called angel investing. Angel investors would have been in there at the lowest prices, pre-IPO prices. You get in as soon as the stock IPOs, you're going to be losing. You would have lost approximately, what is that? Anywhere from the 35 to 40% of your money would be off the table right now. And I'm looking at it at these prices. It would probably, this particular stock, Klarna, would probably, if you're a long-term investor, it's probably going to blow past that 55 range. But that's fine. It happens. People take profit on the open of the IPO. So there's not much to go on the chart. It could go down, obviously, that's fine. But in this range, I'm willing to be a player. And why am I willing to be a player? Because let's look at Sezzle. Sezzle does exact same thing. Exact same thing. It is profitable. But look at the difference in the chart. These buy now, pay later stocks are not getting a lot of love, but they have a lot of usage. And it's like, I'm sure there are people on the internet talking about them, but when I see things like this, I get excited because Sezzle is the revenue comparisons. It's like Klarna has 9 times the revenue of Sezzle. Sezzle is profitable, but guess what? The buy now pay later market is growing, and Klarna's brand is very lucrative for them. It's a brand that it was one of the first companies, earlier companies, I should say. I don't want to say first, and it's recognizable, and they're only going to grow. They're already at 21% market share, while Sezzle is at 8% market share. Uh, I would just go ahead and say that Klarna could easily be the same price as Sezzle, you know, just based on brand and revenue and all this stuff, you know. But it doesn't always work like that in the stock market. Sometimes investors take a long time to realize value. I think that's what's happening here. And by the time investors realize value, like but by the time this stock becomes a Wall Street darling, barring any catastrophic market conditions, it's already going to be like minimum bar minimum is 74. That's already 150% on your money, right? So me personally, I'm DCAing in this dollar cost averaging in here, like $100 a week, because I'm recognizing that damn, this thing is way undervalued compared to the buy now pay later stocks that are out there. You got Dave, you got Affirm. Affirm is pretty big. I'm not gonna go ahead and compare it to Affirm because I didn't do enough research comparing it. But Affirm is at 72, but it also controls about 20 something percent of the market share. So Affirm has all right to be just as big, I believe. But Sezzle, like look at this. It's the same pattern. It's the same pattern. So maybe Sezzle does lower, which is gonna be awesome for me because it's gonna give me a chance because I'm DCAing. It's gonna if Sezzle does do a drop to $10, it's gonna give me a chance to get in there. And by the time that move took, because Sezzle Klarna Klarna just IPO'd maybe a year ago. So if you give me enough time, I'm at 30. Let's just say it makes a similar move from 30 to going up. I'm just gonna let me see 30 to going up. So right here's 30, and you dollar cost averaging. That's 1 year. That's 2 years before it really started shooting off. It back in the 30s. That's 4 or 5 years. So you dollar cost average $100 for 5 years. $100 a week obviously is gonna be at the end of the year. It's gonna be $5,200. You have 4 years. That's 20,000, right? We're gonna say it's gonna be. We're gonna assume that it's gonna go lower. So let's just say I was able to get, which I gladly would take. I was able to get $100 a year, $100 a week, multiply by 52 weeks, multiply by 4. It's 20,000 into that, and at a price, let's say a cost basis of $30. I'm optimistic that it doesn't shoot off before, you know, doesn't shoot off before I could get that amount of money in, right? So that's 693 shares, and eventually I think it's bare minimum going to be $80. So very easily you double your money. But the real thing is, once they become profitable, the stock is probably going to be like 150 minimum, 200, 250. It's going to be, it's like the next big thing because inflation is happening and people are living paycheck to paycheck. Responsible users are going to look to these apps to make purchases that they want and they can't make at the same time. Obviously, obviously, it comes with some risk, you know. If they try to sell more so to a younger generation that's just entering the workforce, they're gonna get burned a little bit because the mature investors with good credit are gonna be more responsible. So it's pretty easy to get buy now pay later. So what they could do to mitigate this is stricter policies in terms of credit. That's what I'm going to be looking for to make sure that this doesn't turn into a debt crisis where people are defaulting too much. Most users are not defaulting. Interestingly, it's not. Klarna is pretty strict. Once you have a bad reputation with them, I know some kids they're not gonna get they're not gonna work with you. Once you have delinquencies, they're not gonna work with you. They're gonna look at your credit report too to see if you can qualify. So if you don't have like somewhat decent credit, you're not gonna get buy now pay later. So it's gonna be, let's just say it's gonna be very low risk of bad people with bad credit versus people with good credit because they do a credit check, soft credit check, right? But at the moment, it's just like there's so much money going into this. Klarna is controlling majority market share, and the price is like so low. Like I don't even understand the pricing of Dave. Dave is another. It's not necessarily buy now pay later app, but it is a app that you could uh, borrow money and pay, it's a payday lending, which is similar because people are using buy now pay later for groceries. So you got consumers using it for creative ways to get through their week or their 2 weeks. People who are getting paid bi-weekly are going to be masters of, and I think this is what buy now pay later was made for because the pay cycle is every 2 weeks for the payment plan on the buy now pay later. But this stock is already at 185. I know Dave's very well. Dave does not uh, out earn Klarna, so 185 is crazy. And shit, maybe this thing goes to 1,000. Who knows? But another one is Money Lion. Love Money Lion. If I could find the ticker, money, if it's still up there, Money Lion. Always thought they had a stock. Maybe it went private. Money Lion. Huh. Let me Google that. Money Lion stock. Let's see. Huh. I would like to believe that it's still up there. No, I think it went private. It got to be that it went private. I'm gonna do some research. I think it went private, but it was really high up. I think it went private. Another one is obviously we saw Firm. Upstart is kind of in the mix, but it's not really the same. It's not really the same. It's more like a easy lending. But you got Dave's, you got Sezzle, you got Klarna, Affirm, Zip. I don't know if Zip has a stock. Let's see Zip. If they have, oh, they do. Wow, Australians. Look at, wow, that's really cheap. But the chart is already up. But wow, that's one to look into as well. I'm gonna look into that one as well, like revenue versus. It's been around for a long time. Look at it, and it's only $3, but it's an Australian stock exchange. Kind of sucks. I don't think I have access to that, but it's another one. But let's go back to this, right? So we have current price of Klarna $29. Current price of Sezzle 74. Klarna is earning 9 times more revenue than Sezzle. Control of the market. Klarna 21% and growing. Sezzle obviously 8% and growing. Buy now, pay later market is currently at 100 billion in purchases. Expected to reach. This was a mistake. It's expected to reach anywhere from 184 billion to 200 billion by 2030 because it's going to happen every year. We're experiencing more and more inflation, and it's crazy because right now current situations are actually pushing us even further into uh, what's it called, inflationary crises, I think, because the Federal Reserve is refusing to. Well, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Is Trump? Trump is trying to get them to cut interest rates to push spending up, but really to control inflation, you need high interest rates. So they're not raising any. They're not raising interest rates anymore. They're not going to be able to. But now they have to try and stay at the level they're at. Is it enough to control inflation? We hope so, but it's difficult times for most people. I would think. But back to the stock. Sezzle is profitable. Klarna is not profitable at the moment, but the dominance in market share and revenue and the brand name will make up for that in time. Once buy now pay later captures a bigger percentage of the market share, obviously, or more money, obviously Klarna is gonna fine tune and become more profitable. So I just think this is rare opportunities that you don't really see where stock is so the market is not reacting to what's actually there. They don't really see value in it right now, but I'm gonna give it 4 or 5 years. I'm DCAing, like I said, dollar cost averaging in there, and I'll gladly take it at these prices and lower. If it does what a firm does, if it does what a firm does, that exact chart movement, which is drop a little bit lower and then shoot off like this. I mean, if I could get 20, 30,000 in there by that time, that's gonna be an awesome thing because then that's gonna be exponential gains, right? So I just thought I'd bring this up and make a video about it. And anytime I see opportunities like this, I'm gonna just keep bringing it to the forefront. Just to like my little personal diary and of what I'm doing, and just to check in and make sure that everybody's aware. But that's it. Signing out.